A very warm welcome to the Samira space. I am super excited to be here. And I'm even more excited because I have an amazing guest joining me today on the podcast. He is a businessman, a philanthropist, a tech entrepreneur, and a politician. He wears so many hats. I'm very excited to welcome my dear friend, Mr. Ahmed Buhari. He is the CEO of Skylar, a company focused on information system, networking, corporate branding, and business consulting. Skylar is a force to reckon with because they are making waves and driving the adoption of technology in Nigeria. Mr. Ahmed, welcome to the show.
I say well done to everybody, but there's nothing significant. I want to see a Nigeria where I'm upset
Yes.
with what is being done and I'm leaving it
Right.
because I cannot be dwelling in that same system.
So you're leaving the space now?
I am saying if I'm in a space
Yes.
that is going contrary to my own values and norms,
Yes.
I should be able to come out to Nigerians and say, based on my own personal conviction,
Yes.
view, values, I cannot dwell in this space. So I take a bow, I leave.
Yes.
In other words, what am I saying? There's a Binance situation, the cryptocurrency guy that we locked up for months because we said they were diverting Nigerian funds
Right.
and overcharging Nigerians and defrauding Nigerians. And now the guy has come up to say he had to pay a bribe of over $150 million to some House of Rep members. No, he did not say some House of Rep members.
Yes.
He said blah 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 blah.
He actually
mentioned their names. But as I speak with you right now, they're going to be having this evening in a nice space, chilling and slamming bottles
Right.
like nothing. In a real system,
You would have been kicked
they
out.
would have been invited
Yes.
by now for questioning.
Yes.
And they will also say, because we want a just investigation to be carried out, we're going to step aside. Either the House of Representatives will say, you're going to be suspended for the next 3 months while the
Yes.
investigation is carried out on you, or they themselves will say, you know what, I'm going to be stepping aside, I'm going to even resign
Yes.
because of this nonsense that's on my neck,
Yes.
so that a good and proper investigation is being carried out.
In Nigeria, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Sam Bello is going to shake hands with those guys tomorrow.
Right.
If indeed he is a just man, those guys should irritate him by tomorrow morning.
Right.
He should not be. It's okay.
No, just break the table because we need honesty.
I don't want to break the table.
Right.
I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 40s and now we can't break tables anymore. When I was in my 30s, when you first knew me, yeah, we break tables. Now,
But now, what do you do then?
what do I do now?
Yes, like, what's your approach since you no longer break tables?
Oh,
How, like,
we watch
and say nothing?
what can we say? We realize
You're
that
forced to reckon with.
the country wants the mess like this.
Right.
Everybody wants the shenanigans. People thrive on the chaos.
Yeah.
I've been saying something. I will start rolling. I've been saying something in the last few months now.
Okay.
I say, unfortunately for Nigeria, we do not have an elitist capital anymore. What does that mean? Who is an elite? An elite is an educated, cultured man or woman,
Yeah.
or an educated, cultured society where you will find people behaving prim and proper, where people would rather engage in meaningful conversation than insult and say "ubanka uwarka"
Yes.
to resolve matters. What we see now is a group of people who have lost that elitist capital completely.
Yes.
So, for example, people would ask me, when do you think we've ever had an elitist capital? And I said to them, yes, we used to have.
Okay, back when?
Back in the 60s, back in the 50s, we had fathers and mothers who were well educated
Right.
in the best of spaces, who would eat, and even down to how they ate
Yes.
was being controlled by a mindset of training and orderliness. All right.
Yes.
So now, in 1966, there was a coup, and this coup, the way it happened, had to eliminate some people who were in the civil service,
Right.
some people who were in the political space, in democratically designed political space. And by the time all of these people were now either removed from
Yeah.
office, some of them were killed, some of them were jailed, some of them went into exile,
Yes.
everybody became really scared to present themselves for service, at least on that level.
Level. Yes.
And shortly after, there was a Nigerian civil war. Lots of people were displaced. Shortly after, we started talking about the Second Republic,
Right.
which, when it was conducted, people like Shehu Shagari emerged as the president of Nigeria. And so we had a new set of supposed elitist group coming out to say, we're going to try and serve again. Before you knew it, 5-6 years after, boom, there was another coup.
Okay.
And this time around, we saw a General Ahmed Buhari, who became the head of state at that time,
Right.
capturing these civilians who were highly trained. He accused some of them of corruption.
Yes.
He accused some of them of misappropriation. But the truth of the matter is, they were dealt with in manners that would scare anybody from wanting to ever be in the space
Right.
to either serve the country or try to put the country in the right perspective, because some of them were jailed, some of them were killed,
Yes.
some of them were sent into exile. So by the time we now revisited democracy again, from 1993, we were dilly-dallying up until 1999, when the Third Republic came around, which I would call the return of President Obasanjo.
Obasanjo. Yes.
Many people who were highly educated, highly trained,
Yes.
cultured, mannered, which people I would like to call that elitist group, that elitist capital, decided to shy away from presenting themselves for service,
Right.
because they feared that once again those events
Yeah, that happened
in the past
Yeah.
will reoccur. And if they do reoccur, it means that we're going to lose our lives, or our families, or be sent to exile, or whatever.
Yeah.
Something definitely was going to happen to us that will definitely affect us.
Right.
So they decided to step aside.
And did what instead?
Nothing.
Oh, wow.
But guess what?
What?
Minama, Ishaku Carpenter, Mr. Okoro, the palm oil tapper,
Yes.
presented themselves for councillorship, chairmanship, governorship, senatorship, and they won.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden, these guys who had no proper organizational structure
Yes.
of their own personal lives now became the lords of the people. And all of a sudden, we started fighting in the National Assembly. There was chaos. People would say things like, this is how Nigeria, this is Nigeria, don't disturb us, this is how we do it.
Yes.
And slowly but surely, people started accepting the chaotic nature. I can tell you for free that before now,
Yes.
when I was driving to your studio, I saw at the junction here,
Yes.
even before the road reconstruction started happening, it was a mess.
It was like everyone was hockey.
And right into this place you live, there are some wealthy people who are in government that live here.
Right.
But I kid you not, they don't see it as a problem. You don't. It's because of where they're coming from.
Right.
It is the orientation they're coming in with.
Yes. So they're used to that sort of
They're used to it.
orientation.
We live in Abuja right now, yeah, and everybody's going to say, "Oh my God, Abuja is losing its color, its values, the way it was well put together before." Why not? It's going to lose it. It's being controlled by people who have no vision,
Right.
who have no orderliness. Because some of them, in all honesty, just tried their luck from the local communities, and today they are in government.
Yes.
Okay, you're in government. How do you want to run this thing?
Right.
I remember when they came in 1999, most of them said, we're going to go to Dubai, see how things are being done in Dubai,
And
we're going to go to the United States and Europe. But they cannot, because there's a Hausa adage that says, if you bring a man out of the village into the city, it's going to take him 40 years before he can acclimatize and become a city boy.
Right.
In
essence, that never happens. Yes?
You get my point?
Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is, we're going through all of this nonsense to a large extent because the elitist capital that is supposed to put us together is lost. And that is why they don't care about the schools.
Yes.
They don't care about the hospitals. They don't care about the social space because they never grew up in a social space or a proper hospital.
Yes.
But for the elitist group, to a large extent, what they have done with themselves is to push themselves away, stay in their own little cocoons, and try to lead their lives as best as they can.
Right.
If you ever have the opportunity to find yourselves in those spaces, you'll be like, wow, these people are different. They seem well put together, well cultured, well mannered. Would you accuse them of corruption? Not necessarily.
Right.
But it is just because of the training that they have that creates the foundation for their existence that makes them prim and proper. They will never say your father, your mother, or say all of those things. At least not publicly. They will rather say, I'll go to court, and then you receive a letter inviting you to court for questioning. Now we say that these ones will say, you know what, get me shakakaka. Let him go and shakakaka his head. It's crazy. It's crazy. You see people, you see lawmakers threatening you outrightly. There was a case of a Bolt or Uber driver that was supposed to deliver an item to a lawmaker, and because the driver said he wasn't going to come into the house because for him his job description does not require him to go into somebody's house. Given, I expected this lawmaker to say, I have a houseboy, go and pick this thing for me. Or, what the hell? I'm just a human being. I'll walk to the gate. I'll pick it up. Thank you very much. This is your money. But you know what?
What did he do to him?
He made sure he slapped that guy multiple times.
Oh my God.
And after he did that, luckily the guy was recording. If he wasn't recording, probably wouldn't be hearing about this. He made sure he slapped him multiple times, got the police to arrest him, and they did.
Oh my God.
Long story short, they started compensating the guy afterwards.
After the video came out. Yes.
And the same Nigerian, God don't butter in bread. At least he got something from the lawmaker. Now this is
our orientation.
We've lost it. We're in a very, very bad place. And I'm really, really, really worried.
Is it ever going to get better?
I'm really, really, really worried what we are going to pass on to the next generation.
Yes.
Because the next generation can only be what we give them, what we feed them, what we present to them.
Right.
But if we're not going to do any of those, then they're going to be worse than what we are. And it's already happening. 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds want to ride in Range Rover cars.
They want to own iPhone 16.
They want to own an iPhone 16. There was a story of girls that were brought in from Kano to Abuja because they have been promised iPhone 15 Pro Max. If they come around and sleep with certain individuals, they'll be given this. And it was chaotic for the girls. They kept begging. We're no more interested. But the men laughed and said, you're already here. These are girls whose parents have no ability to control because the current system has failed to provide jobs for those parents, job security for those parents, or anything that can even secure their own private personal businesses. So I am asking, for example, there was a business, a South African business that is thriving well in Nigeria. It's called ShopRite.
Yes.
they have franchised most of the shops you see because of the brand name. And I remember one of them was about to fall out of business
Yes.
because they couldn't manage the resources and all of the struggles with the naira dollar differential, and they're going to leave.
Yes.
They're going to close.
But they did not? I thought they did.
They did close.
Yes.
And everybody watched them close. The whole country watched them close. I would have expected that Abuja would have said, you know what?
Yeah.
How much can we give you
Right.
to put it back on track? Because we know that if you close, many people are going to lose their jobs.
Yes.
We know that if you close, it's going to affect our social capital.
Right.
We know that if you close, it is going to hit us worse than if you are existing.
Yes.
We are ready to give XYZ amount of money for your existence. We want to know how your repayment plan is going to look like.
Yes.
This money is not going to hurt us.
At all. At all.
We all watched like it was a joke. And this is me talking about a high class brand.
Yes.
There are many low class brands that we see struggle to pay for shops because they really want to succeed.
Yes.
And they close tomorrow. After 1 year, 2 years, they cannot cope. You would expect some buffer. Some buffer from the system to say, we're going to buffer your business.
Right. Encourage.
And hold you on.
Yes.
So that after the next 5 years, we know that you're on your own, steady. Your brand needs some level of sustenance
Right.
to hold it before it can thrive on its own. We know how businesses work over time and how they can, stabilize.
Yes.
These stages are too early. You're paying rent for a 50 square meter shop at maybe 10 million naira in Wuse too.
Yes.
It's unrealistic. And then you buy items and then you do the exchange, and then the buying power of the Nigerian people cannot meet up. And then the next thing, everybody watches you close your shop. And the next man is happy because he wants to go into your shop to run the same business that you have just failed at. And he fails again. And we keep failing.
The circle keeps going on.
I listened to somebody recently, he said,
yes,
if you look back to the time of our fathers, nearly all of them were doing all right when we were between the ages of 1 to 10. And then all of a sudden, something unexplainable happened to dad.
Yes.
And he just became a poor man. And he struggled to pay our school fees.
The rent, this, that.
And what is it really that happens? One funny government policy will just come from nowhere and stop everybody who imports fabric.
Yes.
And fail to collect the right data to say, you know what, the reason why we're doing this is because we want to reopen our textile industry.
Yes.
So, for those of you that are doing this, how do we incorporate you into what we're planning to do so that you may now rather export to other countries than import?
Yes.
But nobody says anything. And we watch a whole community or a whole generation of men go down, never to wake up. So when you speak about one or two lawmakers that they are doing right, I'm asking, how? Are they doing right because they're trying to speak
for their people,
for their own interests, or against their supposed opponents?
Yes.
Or are they really speaking for us as a people in general? Question begs a lot of clarity.
Yes, it sure does. So now, are you like you've given up on politics, or what are you saying in essence? Is it ever going to get better?
I don't know if it's ever going to get better because I'm still a man of faith, and I still believe that in the end we need to keep asking for the best from our Creator to say, please guide our country right, guide the hearts of our leaders right, guide the hearts of our clergymen right, so that our ulamas and pastors and reverends will start doing the right things rather than think about their own personal interest all the time. So if I am standing on that premise, I have to be hopeful. Positively hopeful that indeed we're going to get to a time when things are going to be better. With regards to whether I'm leaving politics, I cannot leave politics.
Yes.
I expect everybody to be involved. Our lack of involvement is what gives the people that I spoke to you about from from the villages to try on certain things that the supposed elitists. And when I say elitists, I don't want people to get it wrong.
Yes.
I'm just talking about people who would rather handle certain issues with consciousness, with
respect,
integrity.
Yes.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Recently, somebody was being interviewed, and they said to him, during the last election, you vehemently went against President Tinubu. You said so many things to slander his image, his person. You called him all sorts of names, unspeakable ones.
Yes.
Today,
is that the person that organized the protest in London?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, that one. That's another situation. Today, you are still frolicking with him. You are even his spokesperson. He said all of that is irrelevant.
Irrelevant, just like that.
And you see, Maya, this is deep. This is bad. Because I'm probably watching this on the news with my children. And they're thinking, oh, so I can just be like this 1 minute and like that the other minute. I stand for nothing. Oh, okay. Is this a society we want to live for our children? Are we for real? Are we for real? And guess what? If you read the comment section, many people will say, many people kept saying the interviewer was being rude to the guest. That was the only thing they saw in that clip. They didn't see the fact that the guest was all of a sudden insulting all of us, and they care less about it. But it was a question of, for them, it was a question of the interviewer being rude to the guest who has no integrity. I mean, clearly.
And these comments are coming from the youths, right?
Of course.
Yes, so
but you can't have a problem. You can't expect anything from the youth. I mean, this is what we fed them. This is what we are hoping that they become. The problem I have is men in their 60s and 70s who have been battered by the sick society who now say, what can we do? I don't think you should be running for office or trying to fix the system. Just join them.
Yes.
Just join them. I mean, it's a hopeless case. The moment you find men who are supposed to be comfortable, independent, not needing or relying on anybody for anything, men who are retired and are supposed to be mentors and elder statesmen telling you, this how it is. Just join them. We can't do anything. It's sad but true. Then you know you've lost the society.
Right.
Completely. So we're talking about young people, middle-aged people, old people, very old people, all disenfranchised and lost total control and affection or love for the country they call their own. Patriotism lost.
Yes.
Identity lost. And everybody's about how much can I just get?
Right. So do we have people that are for Nigeria? Let me give you an example, like Ahmed Isa of Brekete family. So how would you describe people like that in the society?
Ahmed Isa is an angel.
Right.
Right? He's an angel. He's Ahmed Isa of Brekete family is indeed an angel. What he is doing is, it's hard to find words to describe.
He's like God's sent.
Unfortunately,
yes,
it is like a drop in the Nigerian ocean.
He's like one of.
What he's doing is he's touching hundreds and thousands of lives, the ones we know and the ones we do not know. Somebody watching him or listening to him on radio is there regaining hope
Right.
for herself or himself, believing in themselves, believing there's going to be a better tomorrow, but he can't do it alone. And to make matters worse,
Yes.
these marauders that are now supposedly the leaders of the system hate him
You do. You're always slamming him like
because they believe. What should they even believe? I mean, what is he even doing that is wrong? He's just doing your job.
Right.
He's trying to fill in for your inadequacies, but rather you hate him.
Right.
You plan to eliminate him. You plan to destroy him.
Yes.
You plan to see how you can ridicule his efforts. So it's not just him. There are people like Mbello,
Yes.
who is constantly struggling to educate the masses, and so many things he has said comes and pass,
Right.
and people still say, I think he's being sponsored. This is the level that we've been brought down to.
Yes.
So even when somebody is really trying to help you, you'll be like,
You're not
no,
seeing it.
I want the other man to push me down.
Yes.
Down is where I belong. I cannot be up. So when you ask these questions about, do you still want to be part of this?
Yes.
Are you still part of this? It's one of the most difficult things to respond to. It's just sad.
But we need people like you, actually. We need people like you that have a voice.
I want you for a minute to understand that I have in my own little way, maybe like Ahmed Isa or
Yes.
Mbello, or sometimes even Showere, even Very Dark Man. I think these guys are a bit selfless. They're
Right.
selfless human beings. They're doing things that could really get them killed.
Yes. They're putting
Because-
their lives at risk.
Exactly. And so if those people are doing all of this with all their might and energy, hopefully without any ulterior motive,
Yes.
and you still find the Nigerian people
Trying to bring them
trying to bring the same Nigerian people, not the system, the Nigerian people,
Yes.
trying to bring them down, then I do not know how to respond to you.
Mr. Ahmed, are there any exciting projects you're working on, or what's your focus now, currently?
Okay, so first of all, as a human being, I'm trying to be as happy as I can. I think the goal now for me, spend more time with family, making sure my business is going well, having a few mentees here and there,
Yes.
hoping that some of the things that life has taught me, I'm able to pass on to some people who will make good use of them.
Yes.
Basically, try to talk less about the Nigerian problems because they only depress you the more.
Right.
If you hadn't invited me to speak about this, I naturally would just be looking, because as much as you try to talk to some people, well, most people, it's as if you are bothering their eardrums.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people thrive from the chaos.
Yes.
Honestly,
Right.
I think a lot of people thrive from the chaos, because even if everybody was going to just do the simple thing like drive normally on the road, I mean, the police will not be happy. I'm thinking about it, yeah.
Yes.
I've seen people who would, re-regulate their electricity meters, and they're trying to justify them when you're having conversations with them because it's too expensive. That's why we're doing it. How can we afford it? They're making us pay this amount of money for power. So I bypass the meter. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the society we're pushing ourselves to. And in all honesty, I'm just thinking in my head that could we be able to have that meaningful conversation with government
Yes.
to let them see that there are other ways to make a lot of money for the country, not necessarily squeezing it out of the people.
Right.
Because when you lower the living standard of the people,
Mm-hmm.
when you continue to lower the living standard of the people, you continue to lose the ability to get a country that will be fulfilled.
Right.
And this is exactly where we are right now as a people. Every single person is just upset and angry. And you won't blame them. It's a collection and a collective of so many things.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot collect this much from the people and give them absolutely
Nothing.
nothing.
So what can they do differently apart from like getting it out of the people?
We have to decentralize this country.
Right.
When I ran for office of the president of Nigeria in 2019,
That was such a bold move.
yeah, thank you. One of the major conversations in my manifesto
Yes.
was that we would have to decentralize the system. The center is holding too much, and that is why a lot of people are unable to believe that they can thrive on their own without depending on the center.
Mm.
Somebody would argue with me that, oh, come on, don't say that the current administration has actually given powers to local government. I mean, they're going to be sending them their allowances directly. And I'm going to tell you something. Though it's a great move, but politically, what it means is the president can control what happens in your state now. Because if he has to pay the local government representatives, of course, local government chairman directly,
Yes.
it means that he can dictate how they dance.
Right.
He can even tell them, I'm sick and tired of that governor. Work together, I've given you the money, remove him from office. Am I trying to say the earlier was better where the governors would hold the resources of the local government and only give to local government chairmen that are loyal to them?
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I'm just saying that we must move to a parliamentary system whereby every region controls its resources,
Right.
whereby every region is responsible for how it generates its own income. Every part of this country is blessed,
Yes.
though it may not be in the same rational, in the same quantity, but we do have all of these things.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that there is nothing wrong if 3-4 governors of a particular region come together and even explore agriculture.
Right.
Explore.
Like how what the governor of Niger is doing.
Okay, so what the governor of Nigeria is doing, I'm hearing a lot of news about around it, but I'm expecting that we're supposed to have started reaping the benefits of the agricultural proceeds by now.
And then nothing for now, up to now.
I'm yet to see it clearly.
Okay.
I know there were some information or some declarations that were made recently about how much was realized by the states, but I have to see it on the ground. Do
Not
forget.
on paper, not just on paper.
Do not forget that's my state.
Yes.
I need to see it on ground. I need to feel it. I need to get the sound from the people to say, "Whoa,
Yes,
we are now living the life." If they're not able to say that, I'm not interested in reading anything from the headlines. When President Jonathan was in office, there were so many things that we read from the headlines about how Nigeria was the largest economy, how we're doing great, how things were excellent.
Yes.
These messages sometimes were released by the World Bank or the IMF. But when you come down to the group, to the ground,
Nothing is happening. There's no impact.
there's still poverty. So how are you able to translate those headlines into the elevation of poverty and the restoration of a better life for the people?
Right.
This is not me trying to undermine anybody's effort. I'm just clearly saying that it has to reflect. Its inability to reflect on the people or on the system, if we cannot feel it, then why do I need to hear it?
Right.
Why do I need to hear it? As a matter of fact, when you're doing great, you don't even say anything.
Yes,
The
it shows.
space speaks for you.
Yes, it does.
So I believe that would work. I believe that we need to agree that the policies that we have, some of them are great, by the way, but where we keep having the problem is the implementation.
Right.
And that is why for the last 10 years, I've been a strong advocate of how we can move from a salary incentive system
To
to a welfare incentive system.
okay.
And some people have accused me of pushing for welfareism, but my welfareism is restricted to the civil service structure
Okay.
and the gatekeepers like the military or the police or the paramilitary.
Yes.
And I will explain. There are four major things that every man needs. The first one is affordable housing.
Right.
The second one is education for their children. The third one is affordable hospitals where they can get medical treatment. The fourth one is some money in my pocket. If we're going to sit down here and agree that when an executive arm of government comes into office, so for
Yes.
example, we have Tinubu as the president, he's got his ministers, he's got his DGs,
Yes.
they are the executive arm. But he cannot do anything in isolation without liaising with the legislative arm, which are the senators and the House of
Correct.
Representatives.
Yes.
So whatever he prepares as their policy for Nigerian people would have to be taken to the National Assembly, the senators and the reps. They will look at it, they will vet it, they will agree whether this budget is too much for it, or if there are other things that should be added to it,
Right.
or if there's something that should be removed from it and to be revisited maybe later. And so we've talked about the executive arm preparing the policies, we've talked about the legislative arm vetting it to see if it can be good for the Nigerian people, and then lastly,
The judiciary.
the judiciary
Yes.
will have to now stamp on it to say, yes, it must be done. When that is done, there's a fourth leg, leg number 4. So we've talked about the executive, the legislative,
The
judiciary.
judiciary. What's the fourth?
the civil service.
Right.
Now, the civil servants are the ones sitting in the ministry, waiting for you to bring all of what you guys have agreed upon
Yes.
as policy and now probably law, and it has to be effected so that the dividends of the democracy can reach the Nigerian people.
Yes.
Now, at that point, this is where the crucial matter starts. The civil servants that you have in the ministry, are they equipped, willing, and ready to help the executive see that all of these things that they wish to see happen?
Most of them are not,
Why?
because they don't feel involved, right? And there's no motivation.
You're still talking about minimum wage.
Yes, and it still hasn't been implemented.
It still hasn't been implemented. So you are talking to somebody who joined the civil service 10 years ago,
Yes.
working hard, living in Ongombiri, somewhere so far away,
Yes, having to commute.
having to commute, and then watches ministers ride in their Land Cruisers, and then watch House of Rep members run around with sirens, and you want him to do what? To be what? A just Nigerian,
It cannot happen.
and make sure that everything that you want to see happen.
It cannot.
It won't happen. So what do? They sit down there and they tell the contractor, this is going to cost 70 million to achieve,
Yes.
but we want you to write 700 million.
Right.
Don't worry, we will protect it.
Yes.
So he goes on and puts 700 million
Instead of 70 million.
instead of 70 million, because this is what the civil service or the civil servants will eat from.
Right.
So they share it
Because your salary is barely enough to.
because it's based on a salary incentive system.
Yes.
And I am saying, why don't we go back and say the day you enter the civil service, you're already paying rent to own your house.
Right.
So that as I'm in the civil service, as I'm receiving my salary that is 100,000 naira, I already know that government is subsidizing a house for me.
You know.
I'm in the house.
Yes, already.
I'm going to pay for it through my 35 years in the service.
And that's encouraging. Like.
Of course. As my children come,
they're already going to go to government schools because my children's school fees has been subsidized for me because I'm a civil servant.
Right.
If my child is going to that school and is forced to go to that school, I will make sure that whichever contractor comes
Yes.
to work for the classrooms, whether the roofing or the water that comes from the tap or the toilets they're going to use, would work excellently
Yes.
because my children also go to that school.
Right.
And when my wife is ill and needs medical attention, and she's in labor, she will go to that government hospital because it has also been subsidized for me as a civil servant.
Right.
I am the one who is going to sign whether or not Mr. ADC or ABL supplied those 1,000 beds that he said he supplied. And if they're up to standard.
Right.
And if the other man, chief, so, that supplies oxygen, indeed supplied genuine oxygen in the right prescribed manner.
Accountability.
And that I will, because I'm a civil servant with NAFDAC, the medicines that are going to go to the hospitals
Yes.
run by government must be checked and certified because my son might be there tomorrow. And I'm able to afford those hospitals because it has been subsidized for me as a civil servant. And what is the last thing? Tax rebates. Let it be that for every single thing I purchase,
Yeah.
I get a receipt. I take it back to the tax office at the end of the year and claim all my tax returns. If I had spent maybe 300,000
1,000.
naira and I'm getting back maybe 120,000 naira for tax rebates, I should be able to say yes. I'm
Yes.
real. I'm working for Nigeria and I must protect it.
Yes.
But the same people you call the gatekeepers are the ones that are even making it unbearable
Right.
because they have been disenfranchised. When you first came into Abuja to work as a civil servant,
Yes.
he was in Ngwambiri, coming all the way. He gets married, responsibilities become more children, more responsibilities. He moves from that house in Ngwambiri to Angwankada,
Yes.
further away.
Yes. Just to make
And
ends
you think
meet
that when he's coming to work in the morning, he's coming to help this country succeed.
at all.
He's coming to defraud the country because the country is already defrauding him.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, my dear, I think we're not getting it right. No one wants to talk about it.
Yes.
And the civil servants would keep pretending like they don't have anything. Most of them don't actually.
Yeah.
Because except you get to a certain height,
Yes. Yeah.
that is when you get access to the vote.
Right.
But before then, you're also watching and waiting for your turn.
Mm-hmm.
So this country almost will tell you, just wait
Wait
for your
your
turn.
turn.
And turn by turn. This is a very sad, unfortunate way.
Mindset.
think.
Yes.
Wait for your turn.
Do you think the youths can make a difference if they are put in these positions, and all the old
I
cargoes
don't
are...
like it when we keep accusing the youth
Yes.
or expecting anything from the youth. If
Right.
we haven't given them anything,
Right.
how can I put bread into a space and expect chocolate out of it? No.
Yes.
It has to be the same thing as garbage in, garbage out. So they're seeing us, they're watching us, which is why 16-year-olds are planning to kill their girlfriends
Right.
for blood money because they want to drive Range Rovers.
Right.
What are you telling them?
It has
They can't
trickled
see any
down.
modest man anymore. In fact, the modest man is a Jew, he's a fool, he doesn't know anything. Why are you driving your Peugeot when your mates are driving? Your mother will tell you. Your auntie will tell you you're a failure.
Yes.
She knows that
The
other
system
guy, that other boy
is
who used to come last in class and decided to join politics,
Yes.
and now he is a House of Rep member, and so he has many cars. In fact, last month he came during Christmas and bought
Distributed.
golf for many people,
Yeah.
and you are just there. So we've lost the society. It's left for us to decide whether or not we want it back
Yes.
and how we want it back.
prayer is that a good leader will come that will just be touched and
Yes.
say, we're going to get it right. And I pray that he has the right people around him. Because for many people, once you emerge as a political leader or appointee, all your friends are thinking of how they're going to be rich through you.
Yes.
And so they're going to mislead you, they're going to misguide you.
Right.
Mm.
Even if you have good intentions.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to work with somebody after all. So
So Ahmed, so what do you do in your free time when you're not working? You're into tech, right?
yeah. So I remember we once had this conversation with me.
Mhm.
I'm a geologist by training.
Okay.
So I started my career working offshore,
Okay.
oil rigs, helping to produce a lot of hydrocarbon for you people to have a life.
Appreciate it.
So I did that for a couple of years and I left the oil and gas sector.
Why did you leave?
So my company I was working for decided that they were going to divest.
Okay.
So some of the directors decided to throw in the towel,
Yes.
and the day they threw in the towel, the next day we were all fired.
Oh, just like that. Oh my God.
Okay, so we were fired. I never tell people this story, but we were fired.
Okay.
We just told not to come back. I mean, like,
And that was it.
that was it.
Nothing and no incentive.
Of
There
course,
was-
we were given some compensation, but
yes.
nothing to write home about.
Right.
I can still tell you how much I was given. I was given about 3 million naira.
3 million. Wow.
Yeah. And then that was it.
Just go figure out your life.
That's your business. And I remember being frustrated for so many years because
For sure.
it wasn't easy to get back into the space.
So you had to go to the drawing board to decide, okay, what next?
What next I'm going to do in my life, yeah?
Right.
And I remember then I would take a drive and go to Unilag because I was
Okay.
living in Lagos then. I
Yes.
was living in Surulere. So I'll take a drive, go to University of Lagos in Yaba,
Yes.
and I will park my car
Mm-hmm.
and I will go to the classrooms.
Okay.
And I just knew that the world was going tech.
Right.
So I'll go around the windows of the computer science students and I'll be watching them. And as I watched them through the windows, I realized that some of the guys who were not paying too much attention to the class, playing at the back seats,
Yes.
whenever the teacher threw questions at them, they had the answers. They
Right.
acted like we're just wasting time here. We already know this thing. So I tried to be friends with them.
Okay.
And when they come up and they say, hey, what's up, how are you? My name is so. I would like to have a word with you.
Yes.
Can we do lunch? And kids are always hungry.
Right.
Yeah, so they say, okay, yeah, sure. Come with the bags and we go grab something to eat. And as we ate, I start to talk to them about tech and they're like, sir, you see, sir, what's happening in the world now?
Yeah.
Right now in the world, there's this thing that's going to come. AI. Oh my God, sir. And I'm like, okay, so what do you guys think we should do?
Yes. So you knew about AI.
Of course, those kids knew about everything. Knew about AI
Back
also.
then, yes.
They knew about cryptocurrency then. They knew
Wow.
about all the fintech that's been talked about today. I didn't understand it though.
Right.
Because for me, I was coming from the oil and gas, I only knew rocks. And I was like, okay, so are you saying this thing? If we do this thing, we're going to make money? Sir, you're asking, we'll make money. They
Yeah.
had so much energy. I said, we're going to get an office. You're going to get an office? Oh man, they were so excited. Imagine somebody who was in 300 level finishing his classes and coming to space.
Yes.
And then in that office, he was being recognized as a manager. They were like, this was killing for them. So I got a space, about 160 square meters, and we started building day by day, creating cubicles, creating spaces, and we really wanted to launch into the space. We now had hackathons where we would design a topic and say, from around the country, if you can come and create a solution for this problem, and you could win some money.
Okay.
I remember we had prize monies as much as $5,000 back then,
Wow.
as $2,500. And because we didn't have the money, we started running around the space to look for sponsors. They were very reluctant.
Yes.
Thanks to MTN Nigeria, thanks to University of Lagos as well. There were some other support groups
Shout
from
out to
like
them.
friends, that really brought in one or two things to help us, put things in place. But can you believe that most of the applications that we developed at that time
Yes.
were not the Nigerian system wasn't interested in them.
Really?
So most of our customers and clients were either from Canada, United States, who wanted us to develop applications for them for whatever they wanted to do, even as little as a dog app that can help you create dog walkers that will meet with dog owners to help them walk their dogs.
Right.
And we also had good friends from India who were saturated with so much work, sometimes work that Nigerian government will send to them to do,
Yes.
that they were so busy and they would send to us to do. And then we would do the jobs and send back to them, get paid maybe like 5% of the entire contract sum, but most of the money would go to the Indians.
Yes.
Unfortunately. So that's how we started. And we're doing so well.
And then you knew that was the future, like tech.
Yes, we knew.
Yes.
It was an exciting space, and everybody had an opportunity to express themselves
Yes.
using technology. And then I came up with this whole idea that we can't take it anymore. We needed politics. I needed to go into politics, and we need to let the world know that we have this and it can work.
Yes.
And it became a huge distraction for the company. The leader of the company was missing. He was on the road to Benin, was on the road to Owerri,
Yes.
was on the road to Portiscom
For politics.
for politics.
Yes.
And my boys could not understand why. And all I got was emails. Sir, I'm moving to America. Sir, I'm moving to Texas. Sir, I'm joining this company that we are trying to start this fintech. And
that's how everyone.
My boys started leaving. And I was like, don't worry. We will push this Nigerian space to the point where we will get it right.
Yes.
And of course, there are many more boys that will even have a better life than what I've ever envisaged. But I guess
everything happens for a reason.
I guess everything happens for a reason. Should I have remained there, maybe I never would have been able to speak about some matters.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Nigeria did me.
But it's still not a loss.
I hope so.
Yes, I strongly believe so. You're a force to reckon with.
So today I still run the tech space.
Okay.
Using AI technology to create security systems that can help us avert crime and stuff like that.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I can only consult on oil and gas if I'm invited. It's not really cool for me anymore.
So tech is like your main thing now.
Yes, I'm around more of tech and using technology to drive security systems for companies and for government, as the case may be. Yeah, but I feel happy I think one of the greatest joys I derive from all of this is when I see young people kind of defining their path through the things that I am doing.
Right.
It's a lot of work now.
Yes.
The boys I worked with 12 years ago were easier to grasp than the ones I'm working with now. Okay. It also shows that the educational system is worse than it was before.
Right.
So they can't write, they can't put together their thoughts. They're too quick. Okay. They want to be too quick.
Yes, they want to have it fast. They don't want to put in the work.
So all of those things together, the kind of challenge I'm currently facing. But overall, I feel fulfilled. Really, I feel happy. Yeah, I feel happy.
That's like the greatest.
Yeah, I feel happy.
So you feel happy that
I feel happy that there are a lot of young people, being able to define their pathways through me. Mm-hmm. I feel happy that I'm able to do things that I'm excited to be doing and earning a living in the halal way. Halal means honest way. Yeah. So for me, that is priority. That's priority.
Amazing, mashallah, mashallah. So I think there's just so much to cover. I think we need to invite you for a second episode.
There's never enough time.
There's never enough. Because I want to talk about like men's mental health.
Oh,
know?
that's important.
Yes.
Actually, because a lot of us are going through a lot.
And men, the
Unfortunately, we're
society,
not able to talk about it.
right,
I had my own share of mental health issues.
right.
Yeah, I'm
So how
happy.
were you able to overcome that, and what advice do you have you got for people, men that are going through mental health and they don't have anyone to talk to
Yeah, so
about
you
this?
just hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
Anyone to talk to. So your spouses have got to support you.
But
You
some
have
are not that supportive.
because sometimes they do not even know what is wrong with you.
Right.
You know, they don't know what's wrong with you, so how can they help you? You know, not to forget that they're also dealing with their own issues as well. Um, friends, the right circle of friends. When I was down and dented,
Yes.
I had friends who were just present to speak with me, go out with me,
Yes.
drive with me, talk with me. I just needed to be talked to, you know.
Yes.
But it depends. Sometimes you're so neck deep into your your lost space that just talking can help you.
Help. Yes.
Sometimes you need to talk to an expert
Right.
to help
Did
you.
you talk to an expert?
Of course, I did talk to experts, and then manage yourself not to talk to too many experts.
Right.
You know, and in the end, you just need to be hopeful that regardless of whatever you are now, and it really has nothing to do with whether or not you have money or
Or
not.
not. Yes.
No.
Mental health is a different.
Yeah, some people have money, but you know they fall into the space, into the unfortunate space. Some people, it's because they do not have money and they cannot meet up with their primary obligations. Some people, it's because they have set for themselves too many goals,
Goals, yes.
and they can't see them happening, and they just start feeling depressed and withdrawn. Anything could be anything. So I would always I'd advise that people eat right,
Okay.
eat the right kind of foods, eat less,
Right.
try to work out, even if you're just walking around your house.
Just do something.
Yeah,
some
if you have a
physical-
staircase, walk up and down, give yourself 30 minutes every day, you know, engage with the right conversations,
Yes.
pray, believe that there's a supreme being that in the end decides your fate. Also believe in destiny, because if you do, you'll realize that you cannot change what you cannot change.
Right. You can't change what's already written.
Exactly. So it's a combination of all of those things.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed, for
Pleasure.
coming on. And thank you so much to the viewers for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all our social media handles at Samira Space Podcast. And I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.